So our new table saw came in today. We're going to get this thing unboxed and assembled. I'll chime in occasionally with a little bit of voiceovers, telling you guys about certain aspects of the assembly process, but other than that, let's get it going.
Let's get started.
So first thing, let's get everything unpacked. I like to take everything out of the cardboard packaging, separate all my nuts, bolts, washers, etc., lay them out, organize them so I know exactly what I'm looking for when I need it in the assembly process. First thing we're going to need to do is clean and degrease the trunnions and the gears. Then we're going to put some heavy duty lubricant on and get this thing ready to go. I watched a couple reviews about Grizzly and how much protectant they put on their cast iron tabletops, so I knew this was going to be a little bit of a process to get this off. I watched a gentleman discuss how he uses WD-40 to remove his protectant from his tools. I gave it a shot. It did absolutely nothing for me. So we switched over to a heavier duty degreaser and went through 2 coats of degreaser, 10 minutes soak on each one, and got all of the protectant off. So right here, all I'm doing is getting the 2 wings installed. I'm working alone, so we're going to clamp a 2x4 to the main portion of the tabletop, rest one end of this wing on here, then we're going to run our nuts and bolts through the other end, work our way back, remove the 2x4, and repeat for the other side. So after getting both of these installed, I have to admit I was extremely surprised, but very thankful. I had to do no adjustment other than height of these 2 wings to get them flush with the tabletop. No shims, no adjustments. I saw no warping in my 2 pieces. So far, so good, Grizzly. So right here I am getting the front rail installed. This is the rail that the fence is going to eventually ride on. The only problem is you'll see shortly that I'm not getting the front rail installed. I'm getting the rear rail installed on the front. So after realizing my mistake, I'm simply going to remove this, call it a day. Been a long day at work, long day out in the shop. We'll start fresh in the morning and get this thing finished up. So here we are installing the proper rail on the proper side of the saw, and then also there is this big heavy duty tube that the fence is going to roll along. Another thing that was a great surprise and something I was extremely happy about was the accuracy of this fence right out of the box. I was in probably less than a 64th of an inch from front of blade to back of blade, and some people actually prefer the back of your blade to be a 64th away from the fence. So I'm going to give Grizzly credit and assume that they did that on purpose. Now, once I'm able to get some material ran through this saw, I will take a sheet of plywood and I will do the 5-cut method to get my fence as square as humanly possible. For those of you guys who have not seen the 5-cut method, I will post that video as soon as I get out in the shop and get around to it. Now, one quick complaint I do have is this process right here. In the instruction manual, which I'm following step by step, I'm just now getting to the point where they are telling us to install the internal hose for dust collection that goes from the bottom of the port on the saw down to the connecting port for your dust collection hookup. This, in my opinion, should have been the second thing done. The first, we had to grease, clean and lubricate the trunnions and the gears. I think this should have been the very next step. So if you guys wind up getting this particular saw, I would highly recommend go ahead and put this dust hose on before you get everything else installed on your saw. It doesn't make sense to wait to this point to get this done. So at this point, it's been another long day out in the shop. I'm ready to head in for the evening, but I do know that I will always sleep better at night, knowing it took a few minutes to clean out my shop. So yeah, I'm going to stay and clean.
No, I stay. I clean.
Oh yeah, I have a mobile base for this thing, and no, I'm not going to cut anything on this until I get my base assembled. I'm waiting on casters. So here's one thing that I've been a little disappointed in. My free mobile base that came with this was supposed to have 2 rigid casters and 2 that swivel. They sent me 4 rigid casters. I guess they assumed I was just going to move this in a straight line back and forth across my shop. I'm not sure. But casters should be here hopefully today. They were shipped out Wednesday, 3 days. Hopefully they're getting here today, if not Monday. I'm not going to cut anything on this until I get that base in place and I can lock this down. So safety police, we're all good. So that's it. This is the Shop Fox W1888. It is the clone of the Grizzly G0899. The main difference is the warranty. You get 2 years with this, 1 year with the other. Here's the button I was telling you about. It is pull to turn on the saw. It is big, round, and red. It's something I could easily hit with my knee or hip to shut off in case of an emergency. And both of these adjustment wheels, the height adjustment and the angle of the blade adjustment, are both heavy-duty cast iron. They felt really solid out of the box, and they are extremely smooth. Again, the fence was extremely accurate, but here you can see the red tick mark for your measurement. If you move left and right, you notice how the tick does go off. So unless you're standing directly above this, I am a little concerned as to how accurate it is going to be. I will be double checking my measurements with my tape measure every time I cut. Again, this fence was super accurate. No complaints on anything major at this point in time, and it does slide back and forth extremely smooth. I am worried a little bit about the plastic pieces underneath that glide along the rail systems. Those will probably eventually need to be replaced, but it is what it is at this point in time, and so far it seems to be in good shape. I did decide to go ahead and install this plastic shroud on top, more for dust collection than anything else. We'll see how that goes. And here you can see a little bit of the speckling in my tabletop I was telling you about. I believe that might be a little bit of rust. I'm going to try to get that off with some Bow Shield brand rust remover, and then afterwards I will protect and lubricate the top with Bow Shield. This is an issue right here. If you are going to get this saw or any 2 horsepower standard voltage saw, please be aware that you will need 2 things for your shop when it comes to the electrical. You will need a 20 amp breaker, and you will need a receptacle that will take this particular style, which is a 5-20 plug. Other than that, this was a pretty smooth and easy process. I would highly recommend everything that I've seen so far to anyone who's shopping for a saw at this price point. I'll let you know a little bit more in review. I'll probably do like a 3-month review and let you know how things are going. Again, we appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us here on New Craft Workshop. Go down below, leave a comment if you like, give us a thumbs up, and if you have not already, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We'll catch you next time, and we will see you on YouTube.